WOLCEM with Daniel
Hello.
Dolui and David Brevik, the man,
Hello.
the myth, the legend. I always introduce you like that every time. I can't help it. The next time we go out to lunch, I'm going to introduce you to the server as the man, the myth, the legend.
Geez, that'll embarrass me thoroughly.
Well, thank you everybody out there for joining today's stream. It's kind of impromptu. We did plan it about a week ago, but it's not by any means going to be some super polished experience. We're going to play the game. We're going to have some fun. These gentlemen just met, which is super cool. I just met Daniel as well very recently, so this is going to be a ton of fun. We're going to play the game and enjoy it. So, Daniel, I think we're going to lean on you to help us understand what we're seeing and some of the cool things that maybe during development are showing in the game. So, let's set the stage. We just started some new characters, right?
Yeah. We are level 1, and we'll skip some cutscene maybe. Actually, we can leave some of them. I hope you have the sound because I had to cut the sound from the game.
Yeah,
so
no problem.
the cutscene will be very boring for me, but I hope for the audience it will be good. So right now we are introducing who you are, who's your family, and who's your adoptive father, basically. So we tried to touch demons versus force of good. Basically, force of good versus force of evil. We try to do something a bit more family-based, but of course there is a need of strong demons to justify the action everywhere. And hello to everybody in the chat. I can read the chat a bit. I just hope the action won't be too intense, but I will try to answer your question, guys.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so a lot of ARPGs will use live action, or not live action, but full motion video, CGI cutscenes. So what was the choice here, precisely with how you guys did it?
Mostly the CGI thing was over our budget, let's say. We tried to focus most of the budget on the game, game visual, everything related to the game itself, to the gameplay. But of course, we wanted that strong story, so we had to find the best way, and the best way for us was to do it in engine. So, since we are using CryEngine, we can create some good-looking stuff. So we went for that, and it works okay, I guess, for the team side we were 40, so don't expect mega budget CGI. That's not really our focus.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I remember when we did Hellgate London, we had contracted out our CGI trailer or whatever, and we spent a lot of money on that thing. This was 15 years ago, and it was $1 million at the time or something like that. So if you're spending a big chunk of your budget on a video at the beginning, I think that it's better spent, again, like you're saying, on the game and doing something that tells the story but is maybe not as graphically detailed as a CGI, because it's a wise.
Yeah, that's for sure. It was for us. I mean, we knew we could do something good with the engine, but it would be, of course, better to have the CGI. But the budget was so high. We were like,
everybody wants it, but it's hard to come up with the spare $1 million.
Yeah, but it's super cool. It's really probably worth it in the end. But we are stuck with this in-engine videos, which are nice in the end. I'm happy with the result.
Yeah, the CryEngine's really nice. It's got some amazing abilities, for sure.
Yeah. Thankfully, we have also the right artist in-house who can really do it well. So it's end up with very cool visual. I love also the design of everything that our the actor managed to create. So it's very cool, and there is some influence that some people may notice or not.
So you said you were 14 people. How big is about? What kind of breakdown is that? How many programmers, artists, musicians, etc.?
Yeah, so we are among the 42. Basically, one thing to know is that the game mostly was built with almost, let's say, maybe 35 in average people. Basically, we went to 48 months before release. So most of the time we were 30. Among that, we have environment is 4 people. Game design is 4 now, and level design is about 3 or 4. We have one VFX artist that did an amazing job for doing all the game by himself, and we have quite a small team. 1 community manager, 1 tester. So yeah, we had to prioritize what we wanted to build. So basically, on marketing side, we had 1 community manager. She did everything. She did a crazy job, and she really did well. That's about our team. Not huge.
So Daniel, when did development start?
Oh my God. It started about a bit before the Kickstarter. So it was Kickstarter was in May 2015. So since then,
really?
we basically, after the Kickstarter, we were a small team. We were able to grow a bit, and with the early access release, where we were able to grow even more. And the more we are building stuff, the more we realized that we could create something big, a bit better. And at some point, we almost entered a sort of bad habit of seeing that we could do better and was starting from scratch. I think we were starting from scratch almost twice internally. Maybe 3 times actually. It depends how you count the reboot. With the last reboot, we had more experienced people in house, and we were able to rebuild what we did in less time and with a better approach. Let's say that we knew, for example, that having the open world would collide with having a good story, and we really wanted to have a good story, nice character to come back to, that kind of things. So we decided to put the open world aside. There is other features like that we thought would not be good enough in the end, because we really wanted to create a good game. So that's what motivates us in the end. And with all the experienced people who joined, we rebooted the game, and it took us about 2 years to recreate almost everything. And since we had multiplayer to add, a lot of our code was needed to be rebuilt from scratch too. So it was a huge amount of work.
So this is my first time playing multiplayer. I played offline when it launched, and I think I got to about level 25 or so, and then I played once a week or so passed, I played an online character. I got to about level 30, and I was really starting to get into my groove, and then Doom came out. But I do play, and I like to have one ARPG sort of always in my back pocket that I can always come back to. So for you, I'm curious with the level progression, because we're not going to hit the cap today on our stream by any means, but unless you got some cheat codes for us. But how did you guys plan the progression? Right, like you probably want to give players a certain sense of power early on after this tutorial, but how do you plan that progression? How do you work on something like that? It seems so complicated to somebody like me who's not a developer.
Yeah, it's a lot of people working on it. Basically, we had like one guy doing balance all the time, and we're playing the book now, so let's kill some stuff. We have an idea of how we want the game to be played. First of all, we tried to have a slower, let's say, approach than Path of Exile or Diablo. Maybe in the sense that we want, for example, having more, giving more weight to players' animation, in the sense that you should maybe time what you're doing. One thing we really wanted was to have enemies being able.
You may be losing your audio. Could be on my end.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
You are back.
Should I continue? Yeah, perfect. All right. So yeah, I was saying that there is some rules that we put in place, like, okay, players should use their dodge roll. You know, when you press space, you can escape attacks. That's a default move. We want you to use it. So at high level, we'll make sure that some attacks are very powerful. So you have to use this anyway. And then it's a lot of Excel work, basically, to make sure that a skill can be useful at any level. Since we have the passive skill tree, we have the active skills, and we have the stats, there is a lot of math involved. But that's mostly, you're like an accountant, and you create your values, and then you test and you see how the game experience is. I don't know if that answers sort of the question, but
no, that's great.
How
I imagine it's not an easy question to answer on a stream, concisely.
Yeah, it's a lot of work basically for all the teams. So it's yeah.
Yeah, a lot of constant rebalancing and tuning. That the Excel work, as you called it, I think is a good way to say it, because it applies some visual to those of us who don't quite get it.
Yeah, one thing we did is that we knew that our game was very dense, so we didn't push the player to have all the features at first during the first run. So basically, if you finish the game, there is still quite a lot of stuff to discover after in the end game system, like new way to craft, the ability to unlock a new skill slot, stuff like that. So that's also another way to give the player a sense of power. Also, the crafting system during the campaign is not something you will really spend time on, because you don't necessarily loot a lot of crafting regions, but you start looting them a bit later in the end game. So that's also a way to gain power.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, then the game designer could tell you, sorry, how much time they spent on Excel for this.
And one thing that I really enjoyed when I was going through my level 30 character, which I know isn't very far, but I really enjoyed that balance between the skills. So you could have these different disciplines, which we haven't shown yet on the stream, but you could equip a sword, one-handed sword, and then the other hand you could have a pistol. And then you could borrow some of the skills from a ranged fighter, ranged character, and apply, assuming that you found those skills, right? Those they lie around the map, and they're random drops. But that's really cool. You can really customize the character and then reset the whole thing if you find some particular item that really takes advantage of a certain class, right? You can just respec.
Yeah, that's something we put a lot of effort on. We want players to be able to really customize, experiment, and find the way they want to play. Like, if we have like a lot of skills are inspired by various fantasy. For example, the most obvious one could be like Thor sending his hammer and taking it back, or like, I don't know, like when you can play a sort of sniper who summons his device, his sniping device, and you shoot with it. So we define some fantasies. The armor system and the tinting system allow you to really customize what you want to do. And the more you go in the game, the more options you will find. And we want you to be able to like reboot your character, sort of like respec everything, and discover new ways to play it. So that was actually a big part of the design, the initial design of the game. And that's something we wanted to do since the Kickstarter, and we kept it. That's really important for us. And yeah, I hope we made a good job based on some feedback we had. It seems that we made it.
Yeah, the skill balancing. It's one of my favorite parts of the game for sure.
Mm.
Yeah. Sorry, David.
Yeah, you can really. Yeah, you can. No, sorry, it's fine. But you can also, in the PST or the third ring, there is also a lot of stuff that really change the way you play. So that's another reason, to basically respect your character even if you are very high level. So
not to age Brevik here, but when I was a kid playing Diablo 1, I used to remember thinking like, man, or I remember thinking back at the time, if I were making this game, it would be so fun to sit in a room with my friends and come up with skills. And even some of the more basic skills like Inferno, I used to think like, oh, how cool would that be just to come up with that, right? Do it with lightning, and then you get the chain lightning skill, which is such a brilliant skill, and every ARPG does it. It's awesome. So for Daniel, for you guys, was that a really fun exercise? Was it, or was it not? Just coming up with skills and drawing those out on a whiteboard, for example.
Yeah, it was actually let's say that the main difficulty was to pick the one we will put at release and the one we will actually not. Because we had so much ideas. It's like, of course, it's like one of the most exciting things to do, and there was like a ton of stuff we wanted to do, but we knew we had few times. We knew we would be able to do 40 of them, so we tried to condensate them as much as we could, and basically make sure that one skill is one gameplay and sort of one fantasy. Of course, you can change them after with the modifiers. But yeah, we had 40 skills, so they needed to be very relevant, each of them. So, for example, we only have one mage projectile, direct projectile skill. We would love to have done more with various twists, but with the time we had to do it like that. But of course, we have ideas, we have more ideas. We are planning to do some leagues, some expansion. So it will be done at some point.
Really cool. I believe I read that your upcoming, when the DLC comes out, your expansions, those are going to be free, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
We want to do, that's our idea, is really to give good reason to people to come back, first of all, and we would like to have an approach a bit like Path of Exile with their shop, like fully cosmetics. It works for them, so I see no reason why it would not work for us. The big challenge was to have a large that could be interesting to come back, and I think we made it with since we reached about 1 million players, so that's very cool, very exciting for us, and that's something
that's cool.
We want to do now.
So we all just got to level up. Should we do that? Oh, I got a cutscene. Yeah, maybe a cutscene. We can do the level up, and you can kind of walk us through some of those design, because that's also very different from other ARPGs. Instead of just fueling your core skills like dexterity and veracity, it's a balancing act. It's not so clear that funding one is going to have a direct result on, say, damage.
Yeah. So, if you open your attribute, your character sheet, basically, you will see that you have ferocity, toughness, agility, wisdom. So regardless where you put your points, they will always give you a bit of damage. That's what you see on the bottom left panel. So if you put the highest stat you have will give you the biggest bonus, and then the two other will also bring you some damage bonuses. So you're free to put points as you want, and ferocity will basically have all stats have a specificity. For example, ferocity will increase critical chances on your attacks. Toughness will basically increase health and force shield. Agility will be mostly about attack speed, and wisdom will be about applying ailments. So what's an ailment? We have 9 damage tip in the game, and One damage type will be basically burning the enemy. Frost will be freezing the enemy, which is, we have 9 different ones. So if you go deeper in the game, basically you will find various ways to crush the enemy. That's the idea. And for the passive skill tree, I don't know if you are following it, with the
I am now.
passive skill. Yeah, all right. So our idea was to give less choice as possible in the beginning when you are actually finding what you want to do, how you want to play. So we give you like the 3 normal, let's say, the 3 most obvious way to build your character, which is archery, mage, and brutal attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Each of these parts in the tree also has a defensive part. Basically, there is one offensive, one defensive all the time. Like if you go, for example, for the mage, you will go for spell damage or with force shield points. And the more you put points, the deeper you go in the tree, and each layer then gives you more specificities. So if you go to the level 3, at some point you discover classes like Elementalist, if you want to play a mage, an Elemental Mage, or you will find like another classes that allows you to get points in, get more powerful minions, that kind of things. So that's, and of course, the tree can turn, so it will allow you to really shape what kind of progression you want to have. And the idea is really let you do whatever you want, even if it's not optimized. That's up to you. That's your character. That's your way to play.
Super cool. Yeah, I went ahead and chose a soldier's node, so I am ready to move forward if you guys are. Unless Brevik had some questions about that.
No, I'm good.
Cool. Away we go.
Right.
Let's get into the action.
I'm already in the city, so.
Oh, I think I was waiting for you guys in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
I'm already there.
Come on. There you go.
We'll talk to Dimitra, and she will give us some
and then
some
things
skills.
really start to kick off.
We're trying to give you as less possible, like very limited choice in the beginning. Like pick what you want, do your character as you want, and if you make a mistake now, it doesn't really matter. You can respect, and anyway, the choice you make now is not super strong.
Right.
So, all right, let's go.
And by the way, for you folks that are watching, you could leave some questions in the chat, and we'll do our best to get to them. I think Daniel's monitoring that.
I'm trying actually, but it's a bit hard on the same time. I will try to read some.
Okay, cool.
Maybe if you can mark your question with the @WOLCEM Studio, WOLCEM_studio, it will be easier. Some people want to hear you speak, David.
I'm speaking.
Good. You hear him. Yeah. Maybe, David, can you tell us what you think about the overall design of WOLCEM? I know how much you played it.
I've played it a little bit, and so far I like it. I think that the overall I like the skill stuff, just like Joe does, and I think that's probably some of my favorite parts. I think the graphics are really pretty. You guys did a fantastic job with that. And the responsiveness of the character and stuff is good. So I don't know. Overall, I've enjoyed the game. It's had some problems. I know that you're well aware of that. And you guys had some problems with the multiplayer stuff at the beginning. But it seems like you've ironed out some of the problems. I know that there's still people out there that want you to fix some other stuff, but I'm sure you're on it.
We announced that we are going to spend 2 more months, 3 3 more months actually now on basically fixing all the bugs and adding some features that we cut, like for example, being able to do a search in your passive skill tree. That's something that is really missing right now. There is several different stuff like that we are, a lot of quality of life, like also being able to rebind the left button. That's something we are going to do, and adding some more end game stuff. I saw some question about removing, for example, the highest limits on the end game dungeons. So that's something that will come slowly with the leagues. About the timing, I saw a question about the timing for the leagues. I have no answer yet. It will be, of course, after we release all the features that we wanted to have in the game in the beginning and we didn't have time to do. I don't have clear timeline on that right now. I can't answer that question right now. So yeah, that's. And what did you find? How did you feel about the ambience in the game? Is it like, because we didn't went all the time with a very gore thing, a lot of our environment are outdoor. So is it not too much different, David, for you? Because Diablo was gore, really gore.
Yeah.
Hellgate London was quite.
I think it looks fine. It's pretty. Like, I don't have any problem with it being outdoors, and there's plenty of gore. There's so I think that the environment and the et cetera, it looks really nice. I think that that is again. I think that one of the things that's strongest with this game is the graphics are really pretty. How big was your art team?
Yeah, it was about 4 people on the environment. Basically 2 environment, one lighter, and 3 character artists, 1 VFX artist, 2 concept arts. Yes, that was, and 3 animator and 1 technical animator. So pretty small. Yeah. We are actually very happy of the work we managed to do.
How do you find working with the CryEngine? Have you liked it so far?
Yeah. It's very good actually for the programmers. They are very able to make what they want in easier ways than some other engine. It's a bit more tough with for the artists because the tools are not necessarily perfect, and basically since we changed a lot of stuff, CryEngine was initially created for let's say third person or FPS. We are like a top-down game, so a lot of tools we were not able to use, so we had to make our modifications, stuff like that. So and we are still in the process of making our tools better to speed up with the league creation processes. So yeah, it was supposed to be a FPS engine, and we are a top-down game. So of course we'll have some issues, but overall we are very happy. The visual looks amazing. When you know how to use it, it's actually easy to create good-looking stuff. So yeah, we are very happy with that. We'll check a few questions that were in the chat. Why would we remove the open world completely? As I said, for us it was maybe too ambitious and not rewarding enough, sort of. For example, if you play an open world and you want to replay it, and you always end up going in the same areas with the same monsters with very few modifications, it wasn't that good. Also, if you want to give a feeling that a game is very large, it's good to see the horizon, and we never see the horizon in a hack and slash. So that was also another reason why we removed it. Also on the performance side, we have a lot of issues. Like if you want to make an open world very interesting, you need to have some areas with a lot of stuff going on in. because every area needs to be really different. So there was a lot of reasons that pushed us to remove it in the end. And also we wanted to have that cool story, and it's almost impossible to have a cool and engaging story in a very large open world. You need to be able to take the rhythm of the game under control, and it's way harder to do it. You see how a Skyrim game, for example, the story is, it's like you can do whatever you want, whenever you want. You can, for example, do all side mission and not the main quest. And it's actually quite hard for us to make you engaged in it. One reason, for example, a game like Diablo works so well is, for me, on the story point of view, is like you go down on a catacomb, it's very straight, it's very obvious, and in the end you will fight that big demon, and you have a lot of, every level you have a new ambience that is set up. There is, all that stuff you can't do in the open world. I'm actually very curious to see how Blizzard will make it. They are bigger, of course, so it helps.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Have you considered adding a public test stream? That's something we can do in the future. That's not something we were able to do at all because our team was very limited. We have one web network developer, for example, for the full game. So, as you can imagine, he was quite under pressure during the full thing. So, we didn't want to add him too much work, let's say. Catching up with the...
Leveling up.
Oh, yeah.
Take your time.
Are we considering to put back dual wielding with 200 weapons? Maybe. We are talking about it internally. There is some people who are for it. There are some people who are against it. Who will win is not defined yet. I loved to have it, but I'm not deciding everything for the game design anymore. There's people who actually tells me no all the time. So it's like, hey, I have this cool idea. And they're like, nope, can't do. Doesn't fit the full game anymore. So yeah, that's stuff like that. How can maybe do this?
Let's do it.
So yeah, this little shrine that will give us some releases. To reply to people that says we have broken nodes in the PSC, we are working on it. That's something we will fix, and all that stuff should be fixed for what we call the second down, like the time where we will release, the time where we will consider that all the issue the game has will be fixed.
Daniel, I'm curious if, now that the game is live, if gamers have done things in the game that have surprised you.
Oh yeah, one guy managed to create Spider-Man with our tinting and skin transfer system. That was actually really cool. I don't know how he managed to do it, but he found the precise gears and the right colors to put on. So that's one thing, and then of course there is all the people who manage to find broken combination. We're trying to fix most of them. There is some stuff there is some bugs that we didn't solve. For example, the ability to customize Unix that we thought was extremely cool, but we had to remove it because it ended up with very, let's say, extremely powerful weapons. So we don't want the game to be totally unbalanced. So yeah, there is, and then a lot of builds. For example, I was trying to have some skill working together while we were testing the game internally. I didn't manage to create a good build with it, and some player managed to do it. So yeah, stuff like that, basically.
So had the team made a bunch of games before, or was this
It depends who in the team. The initial team, when we were 15, that was our first game for all of us. And then we added more people in the team, and actually there was like way more experienced people who joined us. Now we have people who worked on many different AAA titles internally. We have people who worked on, for example, Lost Ark, for example, that is a Korean MMO hack and slash. That looks amazing, and we have some former lead people from there who came. We have some people who work on PUBG, on Hitman, stuff like that. Like more people who basically manage to help us to reach a more professional looking level for the game. Because we had very talented and motivated people internally, but we didn't necessarily have experience enough to, or even enough people to spend time, for example, to improve loading time in the game, make the visual, the explosion more readable, stuff like that. Stuff that, you know, when you create, when you have an engine like CryEngine and you don't really have any rules on creating a game, you can go wild and basically create good-looking stuff, but that don't really have any rules to it, so it ends up being a bit messy on screen. So yeah, that's basically the experience we had, who was added. Right, I will try to take some question again. Any plans for 5-player multiplayer? Not now. I'm not excluding it, but it's not something we have in mind right now. And all the dupe will be fixed. Don't worry, it won't be in the second dawn anymore. Is it intended to have such a long time to reach level 90? Yes, but it's maybe longer than we expected. So that's something we will work on. But yeah, the real leveling, once you hit, once you finish the game, is sort of the level of your city. So the final level up is more a bonus, let's say. What you're really into is like your city level.
Well, where should we go next?
Yeah, let's go up.
All right. And so Daniel, it sounds like you're very busy working on enhancing the game, fixing some bugs. Do you ever get any downtime? And when you do you ever play the game? Like for fun, not for testing?
Yeah, I try to play it as much as I can. I actually have high-level characters on the testing build we have. Unfortunately, my character on the live build is about 40, something like that. So it's, yeah, I spend a lot of time basically working since we released the game. It's like, okay, let's make sure that what we are supposed to have fixed is actually fixed, stuff like that. So unfortunately, I didn't have time to play much since we released the game. But yeah, that's something I'm really looking for doing, and also playing other games that were released recently, like Doom, stuff like that.
I am down.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Question: what does David thinks about open world in RPG? Most of people loved Diablo 4 will come open world, but why not come? Yeah, basically, someone wants to know what you think about open world in action RPG, which is the next question, actually.
You know, I mean, Diablo 3, the original design I had for Diablo 3 was in kind of a hybrid between an ARPG and MMO. So we'd still have the ARPG look and style and pacing and everything like that, but it was a MMO. And I designed it and worked on it, and then again when I went to Flagship Studios, we were working on a game called Mythos, where we were doing the same thing, and then that didn't ever finalize, and then my Diablo 3 stuff got canceled, and then I went and made Marvel Heroes, and Marvel Heroes was kind of a cross between an MMO and an ARPG. So I like the idea of an open world thing. I think that it's harder to do. There are some kind of changes you need to make to the gameplay in order for that to happen. But I think it is possible. I think that it's not easy. There were a lot of lessons we learned making Marvel Heroes, and there were a lot of really fun things that we did. Having the ability to be with the community and do something like having a raid or whatever with 10 people was really fun, and running around a zone and seeing other people kind of in the zone that aren't in your party and they're helping you out with quests and things like that was really kind of a cool experience. So it's not really surprising that Diablo 4 is going this direction. This is definitely seems like something I would design. And I think that is kind of the direction that I see ARPGs going. And that's something that I would want, that the direction that I would want to take if I was going to do a new one.
Nice. Okay. That's a bit different from my feeling for WOLCEM. But yeah, you need a much bigger team, I think, in the end, than 40 people.
Yeah, you need a huge team to do this. It took us, for Marvel Heroes, there were 120 of us. So, and I'm not sure that was enough people. So I think that the budget's is a huge for a game like that. But when you're talking about Diablo 4, they're going to have a huge budget for that game. So I think that's really their concern. I'm sure that there'll be a lot of people.
So I died. Had to go back to town.
Oh my god.
Now I'm chasing after you guys.
Click on our icons. You will teleport on the directly.
Let me get out of this combat real quick. I was trying to figure that out. I gotta kill this guy. Alright, so I tried clicking on your icons on the left, and...
Right click, maybe.
Alright.
One of the two.
Ah, you are
Teleport
correct,
to
sir.
shoot. Yep.
Fantastic. That was probably the most boring 5 minutes of stream ever. Nothing but dead bodies everywhere.
We are doing so cool stuff on our side.
Alright.
Some people want to know what you think about Diablo Immortal, David.
Diablo Immortal? Everybody kind of is bagging on the thing, but it's hard for me to understand. I mean, I think that they did a very poor job announcing Diablo Immortal. And I think that Blizzard would even say, wow, yeah, we really screwed that up. It's kind of the wrong time and place to do that. That said, I think that a mobile ARPG is a fine idea. I think that we'll see. I think that some people are worried about it being a money grab and all of these kind of things, but we don't know. And maybe it ends up being the best mobile game of all time. We don't know what it is. So I'm kind of in a wait and see to see what happens before I completely judge it. I think again that they kind of blew the announcement, but I'm still excited about having. I mean, more Diablo seems like a good idea to me. So any kind of platform is fine. We'll see. Yeah. Everybody's worried about it being a big cash grab, but I can't really imagine that Blizzard traditionally has not been a big cash grab kind of company. So it's hard for me to imagine that's what it's all going to be about. And I think that is, that they're very aware of that perception and will be striving to make sure that it isn't that kind of experience.
Yeah. I agree, actually. Why did we decided to not have shared gold? We decided to do it because gold on the end game is sort of the way you improve your character. It's really related to your city improvements. We are thinking about the ability to share it from an account to another, but that's not what we decided to do initially. That was really a design preference that we had. Maybe it will change. That's not something I don't think that's something our designer will will try to protect. Why did the apocalyptic form change so much since the Kickstarter? When we were testing, we realized that apocalyptic form didn't have a strong enough impact on the current gameplay, and we decided to go with something visually strong, very intense to play, and give less effort on the development side on it for now, because there was a lot of other things to do that would be way more cool. For example, the third ring of the PST, many other features. That's not something we have evolution for the apocalyptic form. I won't tell you exactly what for now, but we are thinking about various ways to make it look way better. We are not entirely satisfied with how it ended up to be on our end. It looks cool, for sure, but it's not. It's less open than I would like it to be. I would like it to be very open, a bit like when you're building your character, you end up building your apo forms. That's something we will work on in the future. I'm not saying that it will be the focus of the first league or anything, but it will be done at some point. About improving and adding Unix, yes, it will be done. I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying that they will probably be in the first league, some of them at least. So, there is a good question for you, David. From what you know about the game, what would you change?
I don't know if that's really that fair of a question to ask, but I think that maybe one of the things, here's something with the multiplayer. What I find distracting is that the thing that I'm supposed to pay attention to the most, which is my character, doesn't have any kind of ring around them, but everybody else in the group has a ring around them. And I'm constantly looking at things with the rings around them instead of my own character. I'm getting lost on the screen with my own character versus other characters on the screen.
That's a very good feedback, actually. Yeah, I know we have some improvement to make on that. We've planned some, but yeah, that's actually a very good one. I will keep it in mind when we talk about it again internally. That's actually very good feedback. Thank you.
Hey, so Daniel, you must have a lot of stats about what gamers are choosing in terms of their build. Is there any character class or a type of that's more popular? Yeah, what is it?
If you play a melee character like yours, I think you will end up with Bleeding Edge, for sure. That's wait, that's our internal name. Let me check if that's. Oh yeah, that's Bleeding Edge also. You probably end up with this one. It seems to be extremely popular. Then there is the Golem summon, like the big summon. What's the name again? I remember the in-house name, not the development name, not the end one. What else is very used? We have the dual blade, the pink melee blade for the mage that is quite used to. And then you have the war cry that is of course in almost every melee build. But yeah, Bleeding Edge for your character will be the top use. You will see. You will use it.
Does that surprise you?
we always knew it was very powerful. We tried to reduce its power a lot. Unfortunately, there is other places in the game, like in the PSTs, that bring it even more power. So it's extremely, this skill is extremely hard to balance. It's like when we change something in a place, it can become extremely underpowered, and so we reset that. We put it a bit more powerful, and then we change something else, and it become underpowered and overpowered and underpowered. So it's actually a very tricky one to fix. And then, there is the game was released recently. There is still players finding a lot of stuff to do in the game to trick us. Are we going back to the entrance of the? Yeah, we're going back to
I think we are.
Yeah, I'm not very focused. I'm talking too much. But yeah, that's yeah. It's I think it's normal, at least for now. We'll see how it goes with the first thing. Once should be in the game. Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying we will do it, but I agree with you. When can we expect the next patch? If you're talking about the big patch, few months. Next patch just to fix stuff soon enough. Can't really say exactly.
And where's your team located? Is everyone in France, or are you guys around the world?
Yeah. Basically, most of the team is in Nice. Like people who are not internal in the office, or the musician, the audio guy. We have one audio guy for all the game. He made a crazy job too. Very impressive work. We have that's otherwise most of people are located internally. We have our AI developer who are in England. It's called Moon Collider. They're doing this this software, this middleware called Kitera AI that we are using in the game. And yeah, everybody in France. So everybody in confinement right now, unfortunately. But we managed to keep working on the game, so it's good enough so far.
Yeah, I think that game studios in general are set up to handle the ability to work from home a little bit better than some other industries. So
fortunately, nice. Yeah. We have one issue is that our internet connection currently is very low at our office.
Yeah.
So it's super hard. Yeah. Some people had to come and take their computer out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So it's good that they can still work, and we can still basically patch the game and not be locked like that. Public matchmaking is being reworked. It should be improved a lot once we release the second one. The trial is using the rune, even if the skill is not in the bar. I think it's intended. I don't think it's a bug. From what I know, it was intended. That's what I asked. But yeah, should be fine.
Yeah, those are easy choices early on, but it gets pretty difficult as you progress and you have a lot of skills. But fortunately, upgrading those skills is not too expensive with that currency. At least not with my level 30 that I have.
Should be easy enough. One thing that the currency is also used for in the end game is for running some specific project, stuff like that. So it's always good to stack it anyway.
What's the thing that you're most looking forward to adding to the game?
There's so many things. Let me think quickly.
I may not be able to say because it might be too spoilery.
There is stuff I really can't say. So I will try with the most obvious stuff. There is new weapons type that I want to add. That I think we can really make like for example, crossbows should be back, spears should be integrated, new skills that goes with it. There is actually a lot of stuff that we have cut before we actually were able to release the game. New in-game activity. We are planning some that would be pretty cool. So that's what I can say for now. That's yeah. And I think we will try to put some focus on being able to replay the main campaign without too much feeling of having it done already. I won't detail too much, but that's stuff like we want to do. We are planning to have some improvements on the potion. That's what I will say to reply a question about potion. We didn't have asymmetrical boots. We have it on the shoulder and the arms. Initially, I think it was in the design of the very early alpha of Umbra, that was the name at the time. We removed it quite quickly because it was actually extremely hard to balance the game by having too many equipment pieces everywhere. So, ETA on Kickstarter reward, we will write something about it very soon, from what I know. Internally, we are discussing about it, and it should be public soon. We are not planning to WSID for now. We are planning to have the pad support, but WSID would request way too much work. So it's for now that's not something we are thinking. Can we expect to be able to use potion at any time? Right now, we must stop all action in order to use a potion. We're thinking about that. It's in the beginning, during the alpha, the potion was an active action. So it was actually, we wanted to have a drawback when you're using a potion. So that's, but it ended up being very annoying for a lot of players. So we removed that, but now what we are thinking is, basically, we removed it, but we kept the fact that you cannot use it during another action. We are actually thinking about it now. It changed quite a lot of stuff, like it allows you to play in a more careless way, sort of. So one thing we tried to keep is that you keep caring about what you're doing in the game, which action you do, take some risk, etc. So yeah, that's that discussion we have internally, but it's not set up. We are not sure entirely. By the way, guys, I think we need to destroy the spawner. I forgot there was a spawner, so we are just killing the monster coming in infinite wave. It's in front of me.
I was really hoping one of you guys would die, so I'm not the only idiot that died.
It's rather embarrassing that you died, Joe. That.
Yeah, well, I made the mistake of watching, reading some of the comments from our last stream, David, from a couple years ago when we did Diablo 2. Apparently, people don't like the way I play ARPGs. Yeah, you try streaming with a legend and playing at the same time.
Can we expect buffing of bows? Probably. Yeah, a question for you, David. Was the hardcore mode in Diablo 1 in the beginning? I don't remember. I was too young, so I probably didn't play it.
Diablo 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no hardcore in Diablo 1. I mean, originally the design of the game was that it was going to be a permadeath game. There was only going to be hardcore. That was in the original design. But as we played, we realized that wasn't going to fly. There were too many people in the office that were really upset when their characters died, and we thought that maybe it would just it would hurt sales overall if people died and lost their character, especially because at the beginning, so many people died from the butcher and things like that. There was like, it doesn't make any sense. So eventually, I wanted to get that back though, and that's when we talked about, hey, if you opt into a situation where you know that that's a permadeath thing, then that's where we kind of gave you 2 modes, and we wanted to make sure that you knew about the game, so you couldn't play hardcore until you defeated Diablo. Was originally the concept. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I played a lot of Diablo 1, but did I miss something at the time? And yeah, I didn't. That's fine.
What do you think was, what are your sort of kind of, when you were making this game, was there anything in particular you're like, oh, this game, we want to make it like this game, but, do our own twists on whatever? Was there something that, in particular, a particular game that you modeled the game after, or was an inspiration?
Yeah, I mean, Diablo 2 was one. Mostly it was Diablo 2, and it evolved a lot, actually. Initially it was like, okay, let's try to have a mix of Diablo and Skyrim. And then we realized, open world won't work for us. Let's keep the character creation of Skyrim, like free as you want. And let's focus on more like streamlined or solo experience, like with one storyline that you follow it from the beginning to the end. So maybe at some point the game became Diablo meets Doom. So that's what we tried to go for, like very, very intense gameplay, some skills required. Try to take inspiration from a lot of recent games, like for example the dodge roll is something that we added in WOLCEM that was let's say inspired by a lot of, like, let's say Dark Souls or stuff like that. Like we didn't want the player to be just good at Excel, then good in the game. So because in the end game of a lot of action RPGs, that's what it end up being. We wanted to still have this action game really, but really be there. So that's probably, let's say Doom meets Diablo, and we tried for the end game to have a system close to Left 4 Dead with undated monsters, but it doesn't seem to be, let's say, as popular as we would like it to be. So we just have it in the game, and if players enjoy it, they can do it. Otherwise, they can. Most of the players play solo, so this game mode is more enjoyable if you're like 4 people, 3 or 4 people. So we just need some power. So I need to put my passive skill points.
So we are coming up on 1 hour on the stream. I know we talked about kind of keeping it to about an hour. Is there anything else that, Daniel, you want gamers to know who are watching?
We are still working on the game. We're still improving it. As we said on Steam, we have like a lot of things going on to make it more enjoyable, more polished. This will come soon, and leagues will come later. I'm sorry I can't say more about leagues right now, but they will be cool. That's what I can say. We are actually very excited about it. That's part of the things I cannot talk about it that I'm excited about and that we are going to do. So
Very cool. Thank you. And David, any parting comments?
No, I'm having a good time, and this was fun. Thanks for setting this up. And I guess the only other thing is that that if for those that are out there, I also am working on a game called It Lurks Below. It's out. It's been out for almost a year on the PC and cool. Steam, and I made the entire project by myself. It's kind of a cross between Diablo and Terraria is about the best example I can give. So anyway, that's out on Steam. It's $20 and a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. And David, you stream that. Do you still stream that every week?
Yeah, we still stream. I stream on my wife's channel. We stream 5 days a week. So sometimes we're playing ILB, sometimes we're playing other things. So yeah, we stream a lot. So
yeah, everyone should check that out. It's an awesome game. Love it a lot, and maybe we can actually do a stream of that together. That could be kind of fun. And Daniel, you should play it.
Yeah. I
Let's do
actually
that.
was planning to play it. Unfortunately, with all the mess we had in France, with the COVID situation, etc. I wanted to play it recently, but I was not. But yeah, that would be actually a pleasure.
All right. So
And
that's
I
what we'll do.
wrote the name of the game in the chat because some people missed it, so it lurks below.
that's correct.
Yeah.
Yep, it's on Steam.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Alright.
guys. Thanks everyone for watching, and thank you Daniel and David for being on the stream.
You're welcome.
This
My
is
pleasure.
we'll do this again really soon. I think we'll do a stream of It Lurks Beneath. Or below. That sounds awesome. Let's do it.
All right, sounds
Yeah.
great.
All right. Thanks guys.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for
See you soon.
watching.